Hi everyone and welcome to my Game Week 1 team selection. Preseason has been manic, loads of different drafts, but I think it's finally time to lock my team in. Before we get into the video, do me a favor, quick like and subscribe. Let's get straight into it. Let's start with the goalkeepers, and the two I've gone for is Sales and Dubravka. Now let me tell you why I've gone for these two, because if you watched my previous draft videos, I was really keen on Kelleher from Brentford. The problem there is, first of all, there's a potential injury. He missed a couple of preseason games, although it sounds like he's going to be ready for game week 1, but that put me off a little. Also, Brentford do look like they're going to be in trouble this season. They've lost a lot of key players. They've lost Thomas Frank, who was the rock in that team, basically. So my confidence went down regarding clean sheets. It meant I had to find a 0.5 million because I didn't like no other 4.5 million goalkeepers. Now at 5 million, it was an easy pick for me for Sales. He was a superstar in my team last season. Now, I know Nottingham Forest are very unlikely going to keep that many clean sheets. In fact, I think they matched Arsenal in clean sheets. It tells you how good they were last season. But even if they don't keep that amount, I still see them with the upcoming fixtures, plus with Nuno, their manager, they're going to revert to type and still play deep defensive football and look to catch teams on the counter. So that gives me confidence there's still some clean sheets there for me. Dubravka, I mean, he picks himself £4 million goalkeeper. That's a rarity in FPL. So whenever there is one available, every manager buys him. So that's the reason for him. It's as simple as that. I'll be using Sales for the majority of the games. I think it's rare I'll use Dubravka because when you look at Sales' fixtures, they're not too bad. The first 8, there's some excellent fixtures in there. And even in the difficult games, they're the type of team that can sneak a clean sheet. If you look at the fixture ticker taken from Fantasy Football Scout members area, it's ordered via difficulty for defenses, and you can see Nottingham Forest come up 4th. So that's not bad at all. As I say, I can see some clean sheets in those first 5 games. Right, let's go through the 5 defenders. I'm going to start with Van de Ven coming in at £4.5 million. Spurs' fixtures are excellent. You'd like to think under Thomas Frank, they're not going to be as crazy defensively as they were under Ange. So I think they will be more solid. I think there's potential for clean sheets in the opening fixtures. And there's a small possibility Van de Ven could get those defensive contribution points. Beside him is my most expensive defender, and that's Cucurella. He's been in the majority of my drafts. And the reason for that is £6 million. It gives me the opportunity, if he does flop and doesn't perform as well as I think he will do, I can move to any other defender, whether it's Van Dijk, Gabriel. I can assess the situation at game week 2 or 3 and just move him along. But I am hoping he does return. First of all, he gives me the Chelsea coverage. A lot of other managers will be going Sanchez in goal because Chelsea's opening fixtures are very good. But in Cucurella, I get the defensive coverage, but I also get the potential of attacking returns. Now, if you watch them at the end of last season and this preseason, you will see Maresca allows Cucurella permission to break the lines, to invert, to crash the box. He's basically the unpredictable player in this team. Most teams nowadays set up, they're so athletic, so tactical, they mark each other out the game. So managers have certain players in their squads they deploy to break that structure, to become very unpredictable. And he is that player. If you see the positions he turns up in, it makes it very difficult. I mean, who's marking him? When he goes away from left back and comes into a striker position, is the right winger following him? Is the DM picking him up? Is the centre back? It's a nightmare. And he's had some good quality shots. If you look at his shot maps in pre-season and the end of last season, you see he's taking shots inside the box. So good quality XG shots, high probability, not shots from 30, 40 yards where it's very unlikely you're going to get a return. And if you look at last season's data, you see Cucurella did click up a lot of defensive contribution points, which is something not a lot of us expected because normally it's the centre-backs getting those points, but he's a fullback, an attacking one, and might get defensive contributions. So I think there's a lot of ticks there for him. I've had a West Ham defender in a majority of my drafts, but all the previous iterations were Wan-Bissaka because he was very good in defensive contribution statistics. But since watching West Ham in a couple of the preseason games, I've liked Juice. I know he's got a couple of assists, but also it's the positions he's taken up in the box when the ball's on the right-hand side. None of those materialized into a goal, but the point is he's in very attacking positions and you never know. There could be something in there for him. We all love a fullback. I know defensive contributions have come in and made us look at centre-backs, but part of me still just loves watching a match, knowing I've got a fullback that could get an attacking return, even if their team's conceded, which takes him up to 5, 6, 7 points. So Juve was the exciting attacking fullback. Beside him is a boring defensive contribution pick. Anderson from Fulham coming in at 4.5 million. His statistics, if we use last season's data, are very good for defensive contributions. He's an excellent defender. Fulham last season were not too bad. If they come close to matching what they done last season, he's going to be an excellent defender for 4.5 million, especially if he does click up some of those defensive contribution points. And the last player in my defense is a £4 million player. Esteve, centre-back for Burnley, who played the majority of games last season, just been given a new contract. But the reality is, they were very good defensively in the Championship. They're not going to keep many clean sheets in the Premier League. Let's just say that. So he's my last substitute, and I'm hoping I very rarely have to use him. I mean, depending on how the season goes and we keep an eye on them, if they do look like they're going to keep clean sheets, maybe I can play him against teams who are very weak in attack. But apart from that, I don't mind him being a third sub as long as he plays. That's the most important thing is, as long as my sub are getting minutes, even if it's 1 or 2 points here, we'll take it. Time to talk midfielders, and this is a star-studded midfield. Let's start with the king, Mohamed Salah, last season's record breaker. 8 seasons in a row in the Premier League. He's never flopped us in FPL. Is he going to make it a 9th season? I'm going to say yes, he is. Bournemouth at home, Anfield for the champions, first game of the season, under the floodlights. Yeah, I know Salah's missed 2 penalties in pre-season and maybe not had his best game against Crystal Palace, so some have started to doubt it, thinking maybe he's getting on a little bit. Maybe Verts coming in has upset the balance. Let me tell you something. I'm expecting a couple of attacking returns there from Mohamed Salah. Beside him is another premium, Palmer. These two have featured in the majority of my drafts. I've not considered other combinations. I like the way the captaincy rotates. If you've seen my premium video, I go into full depth why I like these two and how they rotate well, especially for captaincy. I really like Rodgers at 7 million. The reason for that is there's not much other options. It's either very cheap, I find, in midfield, like 5.5 or 6, or very expensive, going up to 8.5 million. So Rodgers at 7 million is perfect. Excellent fixtures. Last season, he was incredible. I know Aston Villa are still making a couple of signings, so there's some uncertainty whether he's going to get shoved to the right or to the left, especially if Asensio comes in, who normally plays behind Watkins. That doesn't concern me. He's a minutes monster, which is very important at the start of the season. There's no point in having all of these incredible players, but if they're coming off in the 50th, 60th, 70th minute, the majority of the goals are scored in the last 15, 20 minutes, and Rodgers is going to be on the pitch. So I really like him. Bruno Fernandes is the latest addition to my team. He cost a lot of money, especially when you already own Palmer and Salah. To squeeze in a £9 million midfielder is very difficult. You have to make sacrifices, and I've gone and done it. Why have I brought him in? Why have I made these sacrifices to bring in Bruno Fernandes, who in theory is playing in the 2 holding positions? Isn't that detrimental to his attacking output? Well, let's start with defensive contributions. God, I've already said that in this video about 7 times. It tells you how much of a game changer that new scoring system is. He's more than likely going to be involved in that. Second of all, he takes all the set pieces. He's pivotal to Manchester United, defensively and attacking wise. And when you add the new attacking quality Manchester United have added, not being disrespectful, but last season he was playing quality through balls to players who they weren't really finishing their dinner. This time, in Mbumo, Cunha, Sesko, you'd like to think his assist level is going to go up. I was considering saving 0.5 and going Verts, who is an outstanding player, doesn't have the penalties, but plays for a superior team who will be challenging for the Prem, will have the majority of the ball and will be probably scoring the most goals in the Prem. But for now, Bruno stays in my squad. I think those minutes and penalties just take him above Verts for me. And the 5th midfielder is in Dye. Now, he's been a shoo-in for the majority of my drafts. Recently, I've started to question it, and I'll tell you why. Everton are making signings. Dewsbury Hall's coming. Now Grealish is coming. And you'd like to think both of these players are not coming in from their teams and not being disrespectful, joining Everton, where they expect to be starting and playing the majority of their minutes, for them to go on the bench or be rotated. Clearly, they've been told by Moyes they will be starting. Now, how does that interrupt Ndiaye? The reason that we really like him, first of all, 6.5 million. Minutes look like they're going to be good. I mean, that could be questioned now. Penalties. It's huge. We'll take that all day, especially at that price point. And then Everton's fixtures. So there's a lot of ticks there. Just the uncertainty around Grealish and Dewsbury Hall, and I think they're making a couple of more signings, did make me start to question his position. But it looks like he's going to be in my team come game week 1 deadline. And lastly, we're going to talk about the forwards. Let's start with Fulkrug. Coming in at 6 million, the West Ham striker has had an excellent pre-season. I know pre-season doesn't mean much once the Premier League starts, but the most important thing in his case was the fitness, the minutes. Last season, he was destroyed by injuries. We never hardly ever saw him, so he was never really in our thoughts. this season, it looks like he's going to get the starting spot in this West Ham team. And in this system with Juve and Wan-Bissaka spamming crosses, he is the type of striker that can get in and get those headers. So at 6 million, he might turn out to be a very good buy. Now, he doesn't have penalties, and Wilson, once he's fit, could turn out to be a problem. But for now, his minutes look pretty good. So I'm looking to start with him, and there's not much options unless I remove someone like Cucurella, bring some money out of the defense and maybe upgrade him or take down Rodgers or Bruno. The main striker in this team is Ollie Watkins. Coming in at 9 million, he allows me to be able to pivot if things do go wrong, and Ollie Watkins isn't scoring the goals we think he is. I mean, he's been super consistent in the Premier League throughout the years, and this pre-season, nothing's changed. He's banging in the goals. And last, it's Mark Gui, coming in at 4.5 million, potentially a starting striker for Sunderland. He's moved from Chelsea to Sunderland. It could turn out to be a very exciting, cheap bargain forward. Now, the reality is I'm not sure if he's going to start game week 1 or game week 2, and he could drop in value. But for now, I'm more than happy to have him. Let's quickly run through the starting 11 for game week 1. Sells in goal. The 3-man defense is going to be Van der Ven, Cucurella and Doof. Captain, Mohamed Salah. Vice-captain, Palmer, Rodgers, Fernandes and Dye. The 2 up top is Fulkrug and Watkins. The bench order, Dubravka, Anderson, Esteve and Gui. We're going to quickly rate this team using the scoring system I've been doing in pre-season. Let's have a look. So for premiums, I'm going to give this team 3.5 stars. The reason for that is Mohamed Salah and Palmer rotate perfectly for captaincy. And if there is game weeks where it's not ideal, I've got Ollie Watkins. So I'd like to think I've got everything covered there regarding the premiums. Penalty takers, I've gone 4 stars. I've got Mohamed Salah, Palmer, Fernandes, Ndiaye, and Watkins. That's 5 penalty takers. That's pretty good if you ask me. For balance, you could see I've gone 4 stars again. Reason for that is I've got a premium in every position. So I've got Cucurella, the most expensive defender in FPL at 6 million. I've got Mohamed Salah, the most expensive player in the game in midfield, and Palmer and Bruno. So in theory, I could knock one of them down and buff up somewhere else in the team. And up front, I've got Watkins. So I've got good money in every position, which means I should be able to respond to any early trends in FPL. For the bench, I've gone 3.5 stars. And the reason for that is I've got Anderson and Esteve that play, so the minutes are excellent. It would have been higher if I had more certainty with Gui. If he was going to be locked in on the Sunderland's attack, all of a sudden, that could be 4.5 stars. Because it's quite rare you have 3 playing players on the bench. For minute risk players, I've gone 4 stars. When you look through this squad here, the majority of these players are pivotal to their team. So I'd like to think I've got 80-minute plus players in the starting 11. And even on the bench, Anderson and Esteve look like they're going to be 90-minute players. This is exactly how you want to start the season. You don't want too many players that might be coming off 60, 70 minutes. You don't want that. You want 90-minute players wherever possible. So overall, I'm going to give this squad 4 stars. I'm actually happy with it. I've done non-stop tinkering, loads of different iterations. You've probably done the exact same. So hopefully you've ended up in a good squad that you're actually happy with, like I am here. And I think I'm more than likely going to be starting the season with this team. Get in the comments and let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed the video, but more importantly, I hope you found the video useful. Do me a favor, get in the comments and let me know how's your team looking for game week 1, and rate my team. Let me know what you think of my team. Before you jump off to the next video, drop a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. On that note, I'm going to wish you good luck. Hopefully you have a great game week 1.